Hello and welcome to our 2020 Summer Virtual Campus Update for our Tufts Pre-College Intensive International Relations. We're thrilled that you're joining us today to learn more about how we're transforming one of our top summer programs for high school students into a virtual campus. My name is Ariana Wilson and I'm the Director of Pre-College Programs at University College. As we all know, this has been a very difficult few months for all of us, and with that in mind, we wanted to take this time to show you that even though our platform must change, we're still excited to bring you the award-winning academics of Tufts University in our pre-college virtual campus this summer. I'm here with my pre-college teammates who I'll let introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Tara Pope, and I am the Marketing Director of Pre-College Programs here at Tufts. I'm responsible for getting the word out about all of our exciting summer programs, and I'm excited to be here with all of you today, and we are ready for all of your questions as we dig into our International Relations program.
Hi there, my name is Karen Mcguire and I'm a program administrator for Tufts Pre-College Programs. I'm specifically aiding with the International Relations Intensive. I'm looking forward to talking and taking you through our programs today, and I'm ready for your questions, so keep them coming.
Hi, I'm Andrew Alquesta. I'm the Program Director for the International Relations Program. I'll be coordinating many of the program's day-to-day details. I also work as an administrative coordinator in the Political Science Department here at Tufts. In the last couple of weeks, I've been recruiting faculty from across the university, some from poli-sci, but also from departments like history, economics, engineering, and of course the Fletcher School of International Relations, to work with students in the IR program. I'm also working with the program's language instructors and CAs, but I'm most excited about starting to work with the students, so please don't hesitate to get in touch if you have any questions or concerns at all.
Thanks, team. Begin today by giving everyone a brief overview of how our virtual campus will work and what program updates have been made in the transition. Then we'll take you through the program highlights as well as the exciting virtual social engagements we have planned for these sessions. In addition, we'll share details about our application process, our deadline. Of course, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, you're welcome to post them in the Q&A section of your screen, and we'll answer as many as we can during the session. If we don't get to your question, we'll answer you after the open house via email, or if you have a specific question that you want us to answer individually, please feel free to email us at tufts.edu.
And as you prepare for your summer 2020 virtual campus experience with us, we want you to remember, even though our programs all need to move online this summer, you can still expect the same world-class academics that you would with any course or program at Tufts University. As well, thanks to our virtual campus and online tools, you will still be able to develop those lifelong friendships with peers from around the globe. Our faculty, staff, and pre-college team have made it our priority to transform these programs, including the same engaging content students and parents alike would expect from a summer program at Tufts. And you can do it all from the comfort of your own home, from anywhere in the world, live on your screen.
So our International Relations Intensive is a 2-week program running from July 19th to 31st. This program is open to rising high school seniors and juniors who will be at least 15 by the start of the program.
All right, so the IR intensive gives high school students insight into the increasingly important field of international relations. It's perfect for students interested in studying current as well as historical global issues. As you may know, Tufts is home to the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy, which is one of the top graduate schools in international affairs in the country, and I believe the first. This program takes full advantage of the faculty and expert resources of the Fletcher School, as well as Tufts' accomplished international relations programs in the School of Arts and Sciences. Students will attend virtual lectures with Tufts faculty members on such topics as cybersecurity, alliance dynamics and nuclear proliferation, citizens and empires, evolving relations with China, and negotiations and conflict resolutions. Further, in accordance with Tufts' goal that all students emerge with foreign language and cultural competency, IR intensive students will study a language of their choosing with Tufts language professors. Students will have the opportunity either to continue their study with a familiar language by taking intermediate French or Spanish, or advanced French or Spanish, Or they can learn a new language, choosing from options such as Russian, Arabic, and beginning Chinese. Students who are non-native English speakers will also get the chance to enroll in an English class if they choose. Students will culminate in a research paper on an international relations topic of their choice, and they will receive Tufts pre-matriculation credit upon successful completion of the program. So the program is broken into sort of four main components that introduce Tufts' unique approach to international relations in complementary ways. So the first, as I already discussed a little bit, is the intensive language study. So again, that's coming out of Tufts' strong belief in the necessity of language skills for a 21st century education. So again, those options are beginning Arabic, Russian, or Chinese, English as a second language, and intermediate French or Spanish, or advanced French or Spanish. The next component that the next of our primary components are the virtual lectures. They're sort of the kind of beating heart of the program. In them, students will get to hear from some of Tufts' world-class faculty who work on problems of international importance as they share their research and answer student questions about critical topics. And I know many of those faculty members are sort of adapting their lectures to the current state of affairs. So you'll be hearing a lot about some of the implications of what's in the headlines right now. There are also going to be skill building sessions, and these are meant for students to gain skills in everything from research to critical thinking to analysis, basically the skills that are essential for work and college level study in just about any field, but especially in international relations. Many of them will be led by the CAs, which I'll talk about in a second, but they'll also be led by librarians, writing instructors, and other experts. The last of the sort of primary components are the discussion groups. In these meetings, students will get to work closely with a group mentored by a CA, a classroom assistant, also sometimes called a teaching assistant. And they're meant to sort of reflect on the topics that were discussed in the lecture of that day. So you might think through the implications of the lecture that took place earlier in the day, or you might sort of like connect it to news in the headlines. And these will be sort of formatted around small group discussions with graduate students or advanced undergraduates in the international relations program. Okay, so here is a sample schedule for the first week of the program. And so, the second week will look quite similar. This is just kind of to give you an idea of what sort of a day in the life looks like. I say a sample because we're trying to make the schedule as flexible as possible for students in different time zones. And some of these times might change slightly. But as you can see, the day begins with language classes and faculty lectures. And then the discussion and skill building sessions are later in the day. All of these meetings to accommodate our virtual campus will take place live on Zoom and also be recorded and posted on the class's website for students who aren't able to attend at these particular times. We'll also be adding more of the social opportunities that Karen is going to discuss on the next slide as we finalize those plans.
Thanks, Andrew. So as Andrew mentioned, the undergraduate experience wouldn't be complete without the social aspects of college. And we know that although this summer our socializing is going to be virtual, our IR students will still have the opportunity to get to know each other and other pre-college students from across the country and the world. Our teams are hard at work to create and build virtual social activities in the evenings and on weekends for our IR Summer 2020 students to enjoy and create lasting relationships with fellow high schoolers. There are going to be things like morning meetups, trivia nights, lunch and learns, wellness clubs, game nights, and things of that sort, so we just give the students an opportunity to interact with one another. So onto the application. In addition to the online application, the program requires a transcript, one letter of recommendation, and a parent permission form. Within the application, students will be asked their top 2 language preferences. And students who pick intermediate French or advanced or intermediate Spanish will be asked to take a placement test to assess their current level of proficiency. So transcripts are required to be submitted by email by your counselor or school administrator. Unfortunately, they cannot be submitted by the student, so we do need the transcript to come from a school official, preferably by email to precollege@tufts.edu, but they can also be mailed to us if need be. And if there's an issue getting us our transcript, please reach out to us and we will work with you to find a solution that works for everyone.
With respect to policies and deadlines, currently all completed applications are due by May 1st, and your course deposit will be due 10 days post-admit to. Please remember our pre-college programs do tend to fill up, the international relations program in particular. So the sooner you complete your application and submit your deposit, the better. For all other policy questions or program details, you can visit our website at precollege.tufts.edu, or again, feel free to email us at any time at precollege@tufts.edu. So thanks again for joining us today. Because this open house is for you to learn about the things that you want to know about the International Relations Program. We'll spend the remainder of the time answering your questions as well as other frequently asked questions about our international relations. We've been taking notes of the questions that have been asked throughout the overview, but feel free to continue to post to our live Q&A, and we'll get through as many questions as we can in the remainder of time we have left, which is a lot. If we don't get to your question today, or if you have any specific questions that you'd like to email, just feel free to email us. And if you ask a question in this session that's not answered, we can also respond to you via email.
Thanks, Ariana. So let's get started with some of our live questions. First one I see is, will rising sophomores be able to apply for this program? I'm going to turn this over to you, Andrew or Karen.
Yeah, so the program is eligible to rising juniors and seniors. Rising freshmen unfortunately wouldn't be eligible.
Right, and a rising sophomore, that also is complicated, and we do require that students are 15 by the beginning of the start of the program. There typically isn't flexibility with that, just given legal things surrounding the programs and everything. But you are welcome to always send us an email, and we can always look into things for you to find more information. But typically, it is pretty only open to rising juniors and seniors.
And just to clarify what we mean by rising, because sometimes it's confusing. Rising sophomore means sophomore entering junior, and rising junior means junior entering senior, correct? Did I just say that right, team?
Yeah, no, you said that right.
All right, let's jump into a next question we have. How beginner friendly is this program? Because IR is an unexplored topic for me.
Yeah, that's a great question. So this program is, it's designed for people who, we're not expected to have international relations majors already enrolling in the program. It's definitely geared toward beginners, but also students who, have done things like Model United Nations or taken AP classes, anywhere along that spectrum, from a complete beginner to somebody who's pretty well versed in the news and international relations are welcome. So to accommodate that, we have our discussion sessions where students are definitely encouraged to ask any questions that they have. And our CAs and TAs will be sort of tailoring those discussions to the students. Similarly, we've scheduled the faculty lectures so that they kind of build upon one another. So the first lecture will be kind of like an introduction to international relations and sort of set the stage for what's going to be happening later on. And then the subsequent lectures will sort of build on that and get deeper into some of those issues. And the last thing I'll note is that the sort of culminating paper is a topic that students get to choose on their own. So, a more advanced student will, maybe dive really deeply into kind of like their passion topic. Whereas maybe a student who's a little bit less versed coming in, might choose something a little bit more general, something that's a little bit more familiar to them. Or not. Maybe in these 2 weeks, they'll really find their passion and sort of become an expert. But anyway, all that's to say that certainly students anywhere from beginner to future ambassador are welcome.
Great, thanks so much, Andrew. Next question we have, will the language component be via interactive live chat? Andrew, can I turn it back over?
Yeah, so the language classes will take place over Zoom. So that's actually a live video platform. So you'll be able to, or students will be able to interact directly with instructors. The chat will be available kind of just like it is here in this webinar, but it kind of depends a little bit on the instructor, how much they will use that chat function. But there will definitely be live video interaction. The other thing I would add is that those sessions will be recorded and posted on the Canvas, which is kind of the website platform that we're using for the class or classes. And so any student who isn't able to be there live will be able to view a recording of the session that way.
Great, thanks so much, Andrew. Our next question is, how many students do you anticipate in each discussion group?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, do you want to take it?
Yeah, I mean, that depends completely, on the like the number of total students that we have enrolled. But last year, I know that we had groups that were about 20 students, but we've decided to make them a little bit smaller this year so that each student can, get some direct interaction with the classroom assistant. We wanted to make those a little bit smaller, because of the sort of online nature of things. So I think this year we're going to be looking for more around like 16-ish students.
Right, and just to speak to that also, I do think that even if, the entire cohort might be a little bit bigger, because we do typically, cap it around like 80 students. So that is a large group, which allows, obviously many different experiences and perspectives to kind of take the forefront. But also, as Andrew mentioned, we do break it down into smaller groups, especially in the language classes. So there is going to be the opportunity for both larger discussions, but also more personalized, individualized discussions and lectures.
Great, thanks to both of you. I also have a question earlier. My son has already been accepted into this program. We would like to go ahead, but we are concerned about the cost. We thought that the price would have been discounted more when it became virtual. Is there any flexibility on the price? Ariana, would you like to take this one?
So, good question. Unfortunately, there is no flexibility on the tuition cost right now. Since we're attempting to replicate the IR intensive experience to be as similar as possible to the in-person session and still offering the credit bearing course components as well as additional virtual opportunities. There's not flexibility right now. However, we do have a limited amount of financial aid available based on the number of enrolled students. Students who have already been submitted or admitted rather cannot right now access the financial aid form, but we're happy to send this via email to you and you can fill it out. We will then that form on a rolling basis and financial aid is allocated on a monthly basis.
Yeah, and just to speak more to the financial aid process while we're on it. So as Ariana mentioned, if you've already been admitted, we can please just contact us if you can't find a financial aid form, and we can have one put onto your application so you can access that. If you are still kind of in the application process, or you've just recently, gone through the process, there is an option in the it's called like the admissions agreement form. There will be an option asking whether you would like to be considered for financial aid. And then upon selecting if you would like to be considered for financial aid, it will populate just, a form with some basic questions such as AGI, and household size. So it is all need based. There's no merit scholarship opportunities. And with that, as Ariana mentioned, we will make decisions about um, once every month or so. We have been a little bit behind, just given everything that's happened. So I apologize if you've been waiting for a financial aid decision. But what is good about the financial aid process that we have is even if you don't receive aid in one round, you're still eligible to be considered for the next monthly review that we go through. So there is an ongoing process. And again, if you have any questions about that, please just reach out to us via email or phone, and we can answer more specific questions that are catered to your situation in particular.
Great. Thanks so much, Karen and Ariana. A couple more questions about the program. Could you please describe in more detail how the skills building component would work with some examples, if possible? Andrew, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, so the skills building sessions are a little bit, they sort of depend on the day. Sometimes you'll be working with, or students will be working with the CA, the classroom assistant, and it'll be sort of like a continuation of the or like a version of the discussion section that focuses on a specific skill. So for example, critical analysis of some sort. Another example might be conducting research, and in that particular class, it will actually be led by a librarian from Tufts' Tisch Library, who will give sort of like an introduction to ways to use the library, the different databases that students have access to, how to manipulate those to get search results that you're actually sort of interested in when working on your paper. And then things like how to cite those sources once you've decided to use them, as well as how to read them efficiently.
So we got another question that's how will friendships and other social interactions be made online? I'm currently attending school on Zoom and this seems difficult. Karen, do you want to take this one for us?
Sure. So with that, we hear you, and just speaking from personal experience, I have taken online classes, and I know how difficult it can be to kind of feel that personalized connection with people. And I think that what's great about our programs right now is we are all very cognizant of that, and I think while we are kind of there's a large variety of programs that we offer, they are all looked at on a very, very individualized basis. So each of our program directors, Andrew, speaking specifically to international relations, we're all working very closely together with, the pre-college team and the program directors to make sure that we are not neglecting this aspect of the program, because this is an important part of it, and this is part of the program that we offer. So we are definitely making sure that not only just social interactions such as discussions and stuff that are small group discussions related to international relations, but also things that we had mentioned before, like trivia nights and things like that. We all understand the position that everybody's in right now, and we want to make sure that this is as fulfilling as possible for all the students that participate in it. So I do understand that it seems a little disheartening at times, and that it might not be the best, but I think that we really are aware of that, and we are working really, really diligently to make sure that everybody has a good experience.
Great. Thanks, Karen. I also have another question. I'll be applying to Tufts this fall and would like to know how to foster relationships with instructors and learn about the Fletcher School. Will there be office hours? Andrew, I think you're back. Can you take this one?
Yes, I think I'm here.
You are.
Oh, good. Um, so I think the best way to interact with professors is to sort of reach out to them. So you'll be able to you'll meet them in the lecture. And I should also note that the lecture will sort of be split into two parts, each faculty lecture. The first, probably like 45 minutes to an hour, will be the professor giving their presentation. And in the last 45 minutes or an hour, kind of like depending on the professor's style, there'll be a Q&A and discussion session with the professor. So one way to interact with professors is jump in right in that discussion. That's what they're looking for, and that's what's going to make those lectures like particularly engaging for everyone. The other thing I will add is that those professors, you'll be able to get in touch with them via email, and can ask follow-up questions that way. And then also definitely speak up in those discussion sections as well. Um, Many of those CAs are going to be PhD candidates, future high-level scholars in international relations. So those are also some valuable relationships that you can foster. And um, sorry, I might have cut out again. Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
there you are.
I think I'm back. So yes, I think the main thing is that you will have a chance to interact both with your professors like live in the moment, but then you can also follow up with them later on.
Great. Thanks so much, Andrew. Um, our next question is, I've taken 2 master's courses in international relations. Will I be bored in my classes?
I think what's great about that is, first of all, with any course, it's about what you put in. Largely, is what do you want to get out of the course is an important factor of what you actually will take with you. But I do think that, especially with the faculty and the professors who are experts in their field, that we have here at Tufts, even if they're covering topics that you may have already learned about or have knowledge about, there's always different perspectives. And I think that, especially in a field like international relations, where it is a lot of varies based on situation, I think that the circumstantial thoughts from specific opinions of professors and things of that sort, as well as the colleagues and the peers in your cohort who are from all different areas in the world, will definitely provide a different sort of insight and perspective on what you are learning, even if, like I mentioned, it's something that you probably already have knowledge of.
Great. Thanks so much, Karen. Um, Sorry. Next question. We already asked that question. Sorry. Would it be more beneficial for a student to sign up for an advanced language rather than starting a new one, given this is only a 2-week program? Andrew, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I'm not sure I would be able to really say for an individual what would be sort of most beneficial. I mean, I can speak from my experience. If it were me, I never had a chance, well, before going to college to take classes like Chinese or Russian or Arabic. So I would jump at that opportunity to learn something totally new and to get a sense of if that's something that I would be interested in pursuing in the future. Um, but another student might be studying French, and they might, absolutely love that language and be committed to studying French and international relations for the rest of their lives. And for that student, maybe French is the way to go. So I think that's totally dependent on the student, but I think either one is going to be beneficial.
Yeah, and I do think, speaking to that, this is kind of where the placement exam kind of serves as a benefit because, say you sign up for advanced Spanish and you're going through the placement exam and you're like, either, well, maybe this is way more difficult than I anticipated, or, I know a lot of this stuff. You always have the option to contact us because, like we've all mentioned, we try to cater this so everybody has the best experience possible. So let's say, before the program starts, you decide and you change your mind. That's something that we can accommodate if you decide, I do want to try something new. It's not an end all be all before the program starts, if that makes sense. So you have time to, really think about what you are interested in, but it does come down to personal preference at the end of the day.
Yeah, and one last thing I would add about that is that the one case in which I think I would maybe advocate going for a kind of a new language is if a student is already kind of like near fluent in French or Spanish, if you're really at an advanced level, then the class might not be challenging for you because it's not really designed for kind of like super upper level knowledge. So in that case, I think I would probably advise to take something that's new um, and fresh.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew, and Karen. Combined your names there. Sorry about that. Um, we have one final question that I'm seeing as of right now. Please feel free if there's a couple of people on the line still, if you'd like to ask any more. I'm located in Asia, and it is difficult to join the discussion groups due to the time zone difference. How will you assist on that? And Andrew, has any thought been given to that? And could you share a little bit?
Yeah, so the first thing I'll say is that we're definitely going to be recording the discussion sections and posting them online for anybody who can't be there live. So, I know that isn't kind of like an optimal solution, but that's kind of our baseline. The other thing is that we are looking into the possibility of getting TAs, who actually live kind of like across the world. As you can probably imagine, the Fletcher School and Tufts as a whole has a very broad, geographically broad student body. So there are some Fletcher students and students, upper level undergraduates, who are in regions across the world, and we're doing what we can to see if we can get some of those to run our discussion section, so that we could have maybe somebody who is located in Asia having a discussion section at a more convenient time. I can't make that guarantee just yet, but we're doing our best.
I have one question that's popped up. When will I receive the results of my language placement exam or know what language class I'll be taking?
Yeah, so this question really only applies if you requested to be enrolled in the French or Spanish classes. So if you're planning on Arabic, Chinese, Russian, or English, this doesn't really, you don't need to really worry about it. But if you've already taken and submitted your French or Spanish placement exam, you should hear back from us in the next week or so. Like Karen said, things are a little bit crazy, but and the grading of those exams gets handled by the French and Spanish department. So we're kind of waiting on them to send those over. But because the language classes are capped at 16, we're not able to completely finalize what language each student will be taking until the end of the application period, which once again is May 1st. So any last minute like admitted students will need to submit their exams, and then we'll be able to finalize those classes.
Okay. Thank you, Andrew. So at this time, I don't see any additional questions popping into the Q&A or the chat. Let me know if there's anything else quickly. If not, please feel free to, as we've mentioned, email us or go to our site anytime at precollege.tufts.edu. And we will be happy to answer any of your questions as well.
Thanks all for joining us today and for your interest in Summer 2020 International Relations on our virtual Tufts campus this summer. A reminder again that you're always welcome to call or email us, and we hope to see you soon virtually. So thanks and have a great day.